I remember the day that I decided, I made a quality decision to go with what God was saying about me above my own natural thinking. I had been suffering from a very deep depression, and I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I was doing all the things that I'd been told in my Christian life to do, and yet I was still stuck. And I came across this understanding. I came to understand that my feelings were a result of what I was thinking. And I came to realize that my thinking was entrenched in negative thoughts. In other words, even in my brain synapses, there was like a groove in my brain that without even trying, my natural thoughts would just fall into these negativity, particularly negativity about myself and what I'd done wrong and how I'd done wrong. And I spent a lot of time analyzing, trying to improve these things, and it just wasn't working for me. And I remember I thought to myself, what do I have to lose to try what God says instead of trusting what I say and what I think? And that day I made a quality decision to not go with my own thoughts and to go with His thoughts. And ever since then, I think about what a better life it is to go with His thoughts above my thoughts, and to understand that there is a spiritual realm. And like in the Matrix, we're not stuck in this matrix of the natural world, that there is something and somewhere bigger and better than that. And as a believer, we really do inhabit that place. But if we don't believe it, and if we don't know it even, we can't experience that. And then we're just subject to the natural world and the normal natural feelings and experiences of the natural world. So this book, The Fresh Fruit of the Spirit, is a book where I focus on each of the fruit of the Spirit that you find in Galatians chapter 5. And these are qualities, gifts that we've inherited, that we actually own. But if we've been taught, or if we believe these are things that we're working towards, these are things I'm trying to get better with, these are the things that God is really, hammering home in me that I need to improve on, you really will not see much evidence of those in your life. But what I found is, as you kind of look at these things, as you kind of consider them, that you find them in yourself. And it's a wonderful thing to let God show you who you are, as opposed to trying to become something that you already are. It's a very frustrating way to live life and a very defeated way to live life, because honestly, you will never get there trying. Really, the way to get there is to trust your Creator, is to trust the one who made you and designed you. He designed you to be at your best in union with Him. So several years back, I was working on the mission field in Africa, and I was working with a community that was very poor, very poverty-stricken, lots of illness, disease, almost the whole generation of mothers had died of AIDS, and these babies that they had before they died were being raised by their grandmothers. And it was just a really heavy, painful thing to witness. And I remember wanting to help them, you know, with everything in me, and hundreds of people had believed in me and supported me and helped me to get there and to live there. I lived there for 2 years. And I remember one day just saying to the Lord, Lord, my fruit is plastic. It looks good from the outside, and people looking at me and seeing that, you know, I would go on the mission field, or, you know, that I'm doing these things. They can admire me from afar, but in my day-to-day life, I can tell that I am not producing life. I have good intentions. I have good, you know, motivations, but I can't make God do anything through me. And it was frustrating. And it's what I termed as plastic fruit. Anyway, as I came to understand God, as I rethought where what my beliefs in God really were, and I began to see him with eyes of grace and love and unconditional love, and you know, that he was for me, not against me, and that he wanted for me to know that I was a treasure to him, that I was important, that I was loved, and that there was nothing that I could do that would prevent him from loving me, and that he would come and he wouldn't override my free choice. He wouldn't, you know, make me do the right things, but he would be with me, you know, no matter what, and that he was for me, and that he had a better way for me to live. And as I began to trust that, I began to see, oh my gosh, this life in God is really, really good. And it's almost like a bird who doesn't, you know, his wing is broken, he doesn't know how to fly, and spends his life, you know, kind of limping along thinking this is life. And then opens its eyes and sees God and flies for the first time. And you realize there's not that heavy effort that's needed, and that he'll surprise you. And it's not even that all things go great in the natural world. They don't. They just don't. Jesus even said there will be trials, there will be tribulations, but the ease of navigating those trials and tribulations, knowing that a good Father is sitting with you, is encouraging you, is giving you good ideas and creative solutions, and peace in the waiting. It's awesome, and it led me to writing this book called The Fresh Fruit of the Spirit, because the fresh fruit was very different from that plastic fruit. The fresh fruit was when it was just a surprise to see his goodness towards me, and to see myself as he saw me, instead of how I had traditionally picked over myself and saw what was wrong and what was still lacking. And anyway, I wrote this book, The Fresh Fruit of the Spirit, as a sort of like just taking a magnifying glass and focusing it on these qualities that I began to really get myself established in, knowing that these things were a part of who I was. That they weren't things, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, great gentleness, goodness, self-control. These weren't things that I was aspiring to. They were things that I had, that they were in me. They were a part of me because Jesus is part of me. And these things are descriptions of his Holy Spirit, of how he inhabits me. And it's funny how when you focus on these things, they increase in you. You become aware of them, you see them, and then you enjoy them. And so I wrote this book as an encouragement, as a study on each of these various fruits, and just as an inspiration to continue looking at who you really are in Jesus.